Welcome back to Where Rovers Walk. We've got no football to talk about this week, so instead we're looking at the Blackburn fixtures. How good or bad are they? Who's out of contract for Rovers ahead of January transfer window discussions? And it's the FA Cup third round draw this weekend. So we're asking our team, who do they want as their dream tie? Welcome back, Mark, Jason, Harry and Tom. Shame we've got no Pompey game to talk about, but let's talk about the washout the weekend. Harry, starting with you, you've probably seen the derision from other fans of how a game in the Championship at this level can be called off. What's your view on it?
I mean, the ground clearly must have not been suitable. I think they would have tried to get that game to have been played at any cost. I think that hence why they made the decision to call it off so late, because if they could have played it, they would. You don't want to have sort of fixtures building up. You'd rather have games played, points on the board. But I felt bad for Portsmouth fans, really. I mean, calling the game off at 11 o'clock, you're probably halfway up the country at that point. You got to turn back around. So disappointing, but what can we do?
Yeah, they started on the way to go watch Salford instead, and then discovered that game was cancelled too. Mark, it is, for me, it's baffling that you hear of League One and League Two fixtures being called off, but I know the Riverbanks, I mean, we've got the pictures of it, I think, here somewhere, were dangerously close to bursting. So it goes, everyone's safety has to come first, doesn't it? But I've got to ask about drainage and should this happen at this level?
I don't think it should. I felt embarrassed with it, to be honest, on Saturday. I think obviously we know about the river at the back and it's caused problems over the years, but Rovers were meant to have sorted that out a couple of years back. And if you look at the forecast and you saw what was due to happen, I know it was terrible rain for 17, 18 hours non-stop, but like I said, for a game to be called off in the Championship or in the top two leagues, and then you've got Preston and Bolton not far down the road that are playing, and again, even some teams lower down. So yeah, just a bit embarrassing. I just think this is something, again, surely this is something as a club that Rovers need to be looking at. As I said, I'm not, somebody a bit more qualified might be able to give me a more justified reason, but I just think that for Championship level now, a game shouldn't be called off. Not in this day and age now.
Okay, and of course it's one more fixture, of course, to add to the calendar, which is already looking busy, and that's what we're looking at on the channel today. We're not going to talk about Rivers for 20 minutes. Let's have a look at something which we can get our teeth into, shall we? Okay, Tom, 9 games now in 30 days, potentially 10 games if they decide to put that Portsmouth game somewhere in this here, although I doubt that will be possible. So, first of all, do you have any sympathies for managers and coaches that moan, Tom, about the amount of football that we get in this country or have to play? I mean, as fans, it's great, but do you have sympathies?
To some extent, yes, because if you've got a few injuries and you've got a threadbare squad, it can prove problematic. But I think in this day and age, you kind of know what you're getting yourself in for. The Championship's a bit different to some of the teams in the Premier League who have got, European football as well, and it comes thick and fast. But I think, no, I mean, it's part of what you get paid for now. You get paid, I mean, even at Championship level, you get a lot of money to play. I think, the Christmas period is hectic. I mean, after we play Hull, as you can see on there, we've then got Leeds away and Burnley at home. So we've got some proper tough games coming up as well. I think this is going to be a bit of a make or break period for Rovers. And if we can get through this relatively injury-free, back scoring some goals, I think, if we can get out the other side of this kind of pile-up, probably took in Portsmouth as well, like you said, I think, who knows what 2025 will hold. But I think in this day and age, you kind of know what you're going to expect. It is tough. But that's what you get paid for.
Well said. Jason, let's go through these fixtures then. I mean, I think of all the teams out of the 23 that I've looked at so far, I think Rovers have probably got one of the toughest runs at Christmas. Middlesbrough away, of course, we're recording this before we know the result of that. They've won 4-0. So they've won 4 goals, 5 goals, 6 goals. Let's hope they don't carry on that sequence against you guys. Then Leeds, which we'll come on to in a minute. Hull, Sheffield Wednesday, Luton, Millwall, Sunderland, and then Hull again. They're not easy, these, are they, Jace?
They're not, and then when you had Leeds away, Burnley at home after them, it's that is a tough 11, tough 10 games coming up. To be fair, there's no easy games. The ones you think with a chance of getting points from seem to be away from home. I think Leeds at home is going to be tough. Middlesbrough, let's assume we get 3 points, and then we'll just pretend Leeds is the next game. But I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess what we're going to get from them games, because as you saw with the Cardiff game, you never know what Rovers are going to turn up. We were brilliant against Cardiff, and I did not see that result coming in a million years. In fact, and I'm going to say it here, I actually backed against us on coupon. So that'll teach me, won't it?
Absolutely will, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I won't do that again.
The Derby County fans are really upset about the way the fixtures are arranged here, Mark, because they've got, like you've got Hull there twice in 3 weeks. Once at the start of the month, once at the end of the month. They've got Leeds, like you guys have got Leeds, in the space of 5 days. And they say the way how it's arranged, is disadvantages teams depending on who you've got. Do you buy into that, or is it you've got to play them twice, so it doesn't really matter to have one team separated by only 3 weeks?
Yeah, not really. I don't really buy into all that. I think every season these fixtures throw up, don't they, where you get like a game and then you play them again 3 or 4 games time. So it happens every season, and I think, like you said, you've got to play everybody twice, once home, once away. So does it really matter when it is? I don't think it's a disadvantage, and it's got to be the same for everybody. I mean, if Derby is saying that, obviously they might pick up points in them games, and they're like best time to play them. So you can look at it both ways, but I never look at it, to be honest, like that. I think it's just the way the fixture list throws it up, and like I said, they do that every season, so it's not an issue for me, that.
Okay.
Do you not see there's more of an advantage, really? I mean, if you play a team twice in 4 weeks, you're more familiar with that team after 4 weeks when you only played them 4 weeks ago than when you played them 6 months ago.
Depends on the first score, doesn't it?
Yeah. So today, I would say it was probably more of an advantage, where there's 2 ways to look at it. But for me, I think it's probably more of an advantage to play them that soon after, but
depends what the first result was, doesn't it? So,
it
does, yeah.
You're probably hoping that Hull don't set their manager, I'm sure, before they come to you, because they are not in good shape at all. Harry, news has come out that for Boxing Day you've given Sunderland 7,500 away tickets. I'm guessing that's the whole of that end, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising, really. We won't sell them, so we might as well sell them to someone else.
It's going to be some atmosphere, isn't it? It's going to be the ground for Boxing Day. All right, then. I mean, tough games for Rovers. Harry, staying with you for this Leeds game. You saw them at the weekend, and if you saw them at the weekend against Swansea, they, attacking-wise, are amazing to watch. Defensively, a little bit shaky. Then, how does Eustace set up for this one? We know he doesn't go gung-ho against these kind of sides and will do it very pragmatic, but should he gamble a bit more, knowing that the defence is not all that good?
Well, I think, to be honest, I mean, the dream way to play it would be the way we played it against them at their place towards the end of last season. We know that they're quality players on the ball, and I think the Christmas period sort of favours the teams that are going to end up higher up there at the end of the season anyway, with the bigger squads, can rotate more throughout that period. I think obviously they'll be favourites, even though it's at our place. They came to our place last season and really sort of played some nice football at times. But yeah, they show it was Swansea who went and scored 3. They've shown that they've got weaknesses. They're there to be got at, and we're just as good as Swansea, if not better. So if they can get them, if they can get Leeds fans worried, then I think we can do a job over them as well.
Okay. It's January transfer window chat time nearly. The baseline for that discussion starts now when we look at the out of contract players for Rovers. Tom, if we start with you, I can't believe how many players are out of contract
A lot.
at Rovers. It's pretty much the whole squad. When we have a look at the list, Hedges, Vyman, Bath, McFadden, Hilton, Barrett, Dolan, Sigurdsson, and Hyam all out of contract in June. So, of course, with the January transfer window coming up, we're thinking, well, who needs to have a starting of conversation in case the vultures are circling, and who doesn't have a conversation? So, Tom, deal with those 6 on the left-hand side only, please. What conversations need to happen?
I think Vyman is a no-brainer, really. I think he needs to be offered a new contract. He's come in. I think he obviously came in possibly on the assumption of being a bit of a bit part squad player, but he's played a lot of games this year and he's not looked out of place. And against Cardiff, he scored 2 fantastic goals. I think with a relatively young squad, players like Hedges and Vyman could prove invaluable for that experience. He's been there, done it, knows the Championship. So I think Vyman is a bit of a no-brainer to give a new contract to. McFadden, I was a huge advocate of him signing on this summer, just gone. So I thought he played really well towards the back end of last season. I think him and Dom Heim had a great partnership. He hasn't really featured much this season. He is an old man. He's 38 in this day and age. So maybe I think perhaps his time will end at Rovers come the summer. Danny Bart again, I think he was a backup centre-half. I think hopefully Scott Wharton will be back next summer. And he'll obviously get back in the team. So, however, for that, Danny Bart has done really well since he's come in. He is on the wrong end, the wrong side of 30. So perhaps it depends. It depends where Eustace wants to go, in all honesty, because does he want to rebuild again and get some of the young players bedded in, get some new players in that are going to be young, hungry, or do we stick with this kind of tried and tested model of late where we have these experienced loanees coming in or on 1-year contracts? But of that, to summarise, of that left-hand side, I'll probably keep Hedges, keep Vyman, Hilton and Barrett. They never get any against him anyway, so they can go. McFadden, loved him last season, but I think his time has gone as well. Danny Bart, time will tell. Perhaps maybe he needs to go as well.
Thank you very much. Jason, you get the other 3. You get our good old friend Tyrese, who we were talking about and here a couple of weeks ago, Sigurdsson and Hyam.
I think Dolan, there doesn't seem to be absolutely any signs whatsoever that he's interested in signing a contract. I never hear anything remotely that we're offering him. I don't know what's going on. It's a really strange situation with Dolan because he doesn't act like he wants to leave, but then he doesn't act like he wants to sign a new contract even. And there never seems to anything comes out the club with him. For me, with Dolan, it's time. I think it's time to get him in and have a serious chat. You know, balls out the bath. If you want to stay, let's reach a deal. If not, off you pop. And I'll be getting rid in January because we can't keep letting players go for nothing. Sigurdsson is so frustrating. I want him to do well, and there's a player there, but there's got to be an issue with attitude or something with him because it's a second manager now who has been a bit part player. So for me, I think Sigurdsson will go January. I'm going to say it. I think I don't think he's the be all and end all. I really don't. I thought he was brilliant in his first season and a half. I thought he was really good. He's looked a little bit better this season than he did last season, but for me, there's too many mistakes with him. He misjudges the flight of the ball too much, ends up turning himself around. I would probably try and get a new contract, but I don't think it'd be the end of the world if he went. If I'm being truthfully honest.
Mark, do you disagree with anything that Jason or Tom have said?
Both have made really good points on all them players discussed, to be honest. I think, obviously, looking at the centre-half situation, I think obviously, I know, like I said, Scott Wharton should hopefully be back next season. So you would imagine that Wharton and Carter are going to be the long-term centre halves for Rovers. But obviously, there's going to need to be some backup there. So I think, Bat and Hyam, both of them, or at least one of them, should be given a new deal. Probably Hyam another year if he wants to stay on and accept that. But so that position to me, all the others totally agree with. I think Sigurdsson, I think his days at Rovers are already numbered, and I think Jason was spot on about Dolan. I know we've talked about Dolan quite a lot over this last few weeks, and I think I've said in previous episodes that for me, I would be looking to sell him in January if we can get some money, because I don't think he's going to be signing a new deal. And if we can try and get some money in January for him, I'd be looking to get rid of him at that stage.
Right, thank you, Harry. That leaves you with the loan players. Do you think you would manage to get them first of all, and if so, would you put bids in for any of them?
Well, I don't think there'd be much point in putting a bid in for Cozy, Derbury or Beck, because I don't think we'd get any. I mean, I'd love to have them, but I don't think we'd get them. Baker seems a more realistic target. Depends how much he plays between now and sort of the end. He's been a bit of a bit part player, but he scored against Cardiff, that late goal. If he gets a few more starts and Eustace sees him as someone who wants to be part of that project, I could see Stoke being willing to let him move on. So I think, out of the three, I think he'd be the only one we'd have a chance of getting, and I think there would be a decent chance that we could do that if Eustace wanted him.
Yeah, well, I'd love Liverpool to let Beck go, because I think he's absolute quality. I don't think he gets into his quality at this level. I'm not sure he's Premier League quality from what we've seen so far. All right, thank you very much for that. To finish off then, this week it is FA Cup third round draw, of course, this weekend. So we're asking all you guys here if you could place the balls anywhere, home or away, against any opposition. And what would you love for your dream third round tie? I think it's time Rovers had a bit of a cup run, don't you? Jason, kick this off for us.
I'm going to go against the cup run. I'm going to say the most memorable game I've had is a recent one, which was Newcastle at home. It's the first live penalty shootout I've ever seen. But it was just, it's going to live long in the memory. The atmosphere was brilliant. We were fantastic on the night. We were very unlucky. And I'd like one of those kind of nights again. Big Premier League club at home. And that's what I would like.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, probably similar, to be honest. Anything that just brings a lot of money into the club. So whether that's another huge away following, or we get an away tie at one of the big clubs, and we get a nice day out somewhere and take a few thousand fans. But yeah, obviously it's we certainly miss the big stage. So whether it's home or away, just anywhere that brings a few extra quid into the club, I think.
Tom?
I think I'd like to go home or away for Liverpool, because my wife's family are all big Liverpool fans, and her dad and uncles have come to quite a lot of Blackburn games with me. So it'd be nice to go and see Blackburn playing Liverpool at Ewood or Anfield, just for, because it'd be nice for a bit of banter with the family.
Okay. No comment. Harry, Villa away for you, Harry?
Yeah, Villa would be nice. I'd like to tick a couple new grounds off if possible. I'd love to do Anfield or Spurs' new ground. I think they're the two on the top of the list. I'd take Man City because I think we'd probably beat them. Or Kettering. I think Kettering would be a bit of a laugh.
So anybody, Harry, basically.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm just happy to be involved. Happy to be in it. I'm just doing that. Enjoy it while we can, lads.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to say I'm deeply insulted, given that two of you want to go to that stall at Anfield. None of you want to come to the final ever time to Goodison Park because you'll never get there again, and you want to go to that place. Well, I think we need some new Blackburn fans on this podcast. If you want to appear next week, email in. Right, thank you a lot. By the way, our Burnley fans, but all of them said they want you at home to knock you out.
Not one of us said Burnley. I'm surprised.
No. Well, you're on their mind.
We live rent free in their heads.
That's right. Rent free.
I couldn't be doing with it. I couldn't be doing with them twice because we play them on 4th, don't we? Twice in a week. Oh no way! I couldn't be doing with that.
Right. Thank you very much. Catch you next week. Hopefully there'll be some football to talk about. See you then.